Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Cora and this is the first episode of my Crimes Across Borders series. Today we will be talking about perplexing and tragic case that left many unanswered questions. We are investigating the untimely and strange death of Magdalena Żuk, a case that might not be widely known but it still continues to confound and provoke strong emotions in Poland. Magdalena Żuk was a 27-year-old woman living in Wrocław, Poland. She was a hardworking and ambitious woman who led a very busy lifestyle. She had a degree in dietetics and also pursued a career in cosmetology. She opened her own beauty salon at a young age and had aspirations of becoming a model. Magdalena's parents and sisters say she was always full of energy, happy, very sociable. She was really into sports, healthy lifestyle. She was training for a half marathon and was learning how to pole dance as well. She loved music and actually met her boyfriend during a hip-hop concert at a local club. They weren't very long together, only about 6 months, but her family and Marcus himself say that they were already planning a future together. It's 2017. We don't know exactly when, but Magdalena decides to buy surprise tickets for her and her boyfriend for holidays in Egypt. The trips does seem fairly sudden. She borrows money from her parents, saying she will pay them back as soon as she's back. And she doesn't tell her boyfriend until the day of departure. That's the official version. Apparently, when she tells him, it turns out that his passport is valid less than 6 months, meaning he can't travel with her. The unofficial version is that she actually texted a friend of hers saying that she's aware of the whole passport issue. She knows, she texted complaining to this friend that, Marcus can't go with me because his passport is not valid. But official statement from Marcus says that he didn't know about it before and she just told him a few hours before departure. It seems like a minor detail that almost doesn't matter, but I think later on you guys might notice that it could possibly mean something. So once they realize that Marcus can't fly with her, they try to sell the tickets on one of the local marketplace groups. It's Marcus who creates an ad, and the bizarre thing is that he doesn't use his main account, but complete brand new account. And if any of you bought anything over the internet like this, you probably are aware that it's just a little bit strange. When you see an ad from a completely blank new account, it's always a little bit suspicious, and that trip was probably fairly expensive, so even at a heavily discounted price, there was no chances that they would sell it like this, especially last moment. I mean, at this point, there's about 4 hours before departure. They can't sell the tickets, and none of her family or friends can go with her. So they decide that Magdalena will go by herself. She is driven to the airport by Marcus and his friend, and finally arrives in Marsa Alam on the evening of almost midnight of the 25th of April. The issues start almost straight away. On the first day, Magdalena complains to her boyfriend that she can hear strange noises around her room and she feels uncomfortable there. He speaks with the reception and it seems like things get better for a while, but not for long. The same day, her family receives the information that Magdalena is behaving hysterically and she's aggressive as well. They are obviously really worried for their child, so Magdalena's father is contacting a Polish embassy in Cairo. He's being told that they are aware and that the situation is under control. The embassy is actually in touch with the local resident at the hotel. So here I need to add, Magdalena's trip was booked through a travel agency. And it is actually quite common for agencies in Poland. I don't know if it's like a European thing or if it's like this everywhere or not, but specifically like Polish travel agencies, when they organize those trips, they have like a proper connection with the hotel where the trip will be taking place. And they always have a resident at the hotel, and that person would speak obviously the local language, very often English as well because it's so universal, but they would also speak the language of the agency. So in this case, it was a man called Mahmoud, and he was speaking the local language as well as Polish. So this is really helpful, especially in the countries where, for example, English is might not be so widely known, and having that person that speaks both languages and is able to help the tourists, that's really useful, especially in case of any emergencies. But his role is not just for this. He would organize any trips, events for the people. He makes sure that anything they need during their holidays, anything like any questions they might have, like he is there non-stop. Like he usually lives at the hotel as well. So that was Mahmoud, and I might be calling him Mahmoud and sometimes resident, just so you're not confused all of a sudden if I say the resident. So yeah, he was there. So Magdalena had this person that she could easily communicate with. There wasn't like a language barrier for this because he spoke Polish as well. During this holiday stay as well, there was a lot of other Polish tourists as well. So there wasn't just Magdalena. Usually those trips, when they are organized, there's a lot of people going on the same trips. It's the same flight. The dates are often very like similar as well. So you kind of go and you already meet people on the plane, and then you spend your whole holidays there together, and then you go back. From what I gather, there's not much else to do at that resort besides the things that the resort has to offer, perhaps like some little trips here and there, but they are like heavily organized. I read that you are not even allowed in this particular area, you were not even allowed to just kind of go off as you wanted. You had to let the reception know. They would take the details, where you're going, who's going exactly, and it was actually being then checked by the police on a regular basis. So it's like heavily monitored, this whole like tourist activity. And the resort, the place where Magdalena went, there was not much else besides the resort. There wasn't like a big city nearby. It was literally just like holiday resorts, hotels, bigger and smaller, and that's about it. It was like just purely place made for tourists. As I said before, Magdalena was behaving strangely from the first day. I watched a documentary with some interviews with the Polish people, other tourists that were there at the same time. And it was quite interesting what they had to say about it. They described a lot of her behavior, that she was really upset about her boyfriend not being there. She would complain to them a lot. She would just like stop to talk to other people. And when they tried to make her feel better, saying something along the lines that, oh, you know, your boyfriend loves you so much, he can't be here, just enjoy your holidays, relax, she would just randomly reply, do they believe in afterlife? Like, they don't know who they are. Like, she didn't explain it, kind of left it at this and left. So they had plenty of this kind of bizarre encounters with her. And at some point, I think that was the first day of the holidays, after dinner, the resident came to talk to one of the people, to a group of the people that were there at the same time as Magda. And the men said this. After dinner, the resident came to our table and said, "Listen, I have a problem with this young girl. You have to be careful with her because she behaves strangely." Well, I say, I notice it too. And that's how it started. So the resident spoke to the people about Magdalena on the first night already. So he seen that her behavior, according to him, was strange. It doesn't mention anything aggressive so far. And to be fair, nothing that I read would describe an aggressive behavior. Everything that I found so far, and I spent a lot of time researching this case, everything is more like, yes, maybe a little bit bizarre, someone's upset, someone is acting strange, maybe even hysterical, definitely not aggressive, at least not at this point at the hotel. So I have no idea what they meant on the first day. Like, they were informing the family. Can you imagine? You're an adult. We're not talking about like a 15-year-old on a school trip. This is an adult woman who goes on holidays somewhere, And apparently her behavior is so bad that the staff at the hotel, the resident, the travel agency decides they need to contact her family. That means something is going on. But at the same time, I could not find anywhere what exactly was going on at this point. I mean, later on, there's more things happening. But we will slowly get to this part. For now, I would like to read you another interview from one of the tourists. And that person will describe the only event that I would find that you can't call it an aggressive behavior, but it could be something like more aggressive than everything else that I read. So that person says, on the second day, we were coming back from the beach and we had rooms next to each other. And we noticed that there was an open room. People were standing just outside in the corridor. Magdalena was lying on a bed, curled up in a white bathrobe. And I went up to her and I asked her if I could help her or something. Nothing. She looked and she was probably holding 2 phones, and it turned out that she was just taking the phones from people and didn't want to give them back. So still not exactly aggressive, but I understand how this could be, an upset, weird behavior that it would upset other people. Still not aggressive. So right after this, I guess that could have been one of the reasons that prompting it. Magdalena's boyfriend is organizing for her to go back home earlier. He rebooks her original flight for the 29th of April. It's a Saturday, so it's just a few more days and she's meant to be back home. And here I struggle a little bit with the timeline because it's been a long time ago. It was 6 years ago. Not all of the information became public at the same time. Some of the information was also just purely discovered later on. And there are different sources, different stories. I struggled to see exactly what's the official story. From what I gathered, the official version is that nothing out of ordinary happened on the 27th. Magdalena was behaving strangely, possibly aggressive, but she didn't leave the hotel. There was nothing worth mentioning. On the other hand, a few years after Magdalena's death, there was a report released by a private investigators agency in Poland, and they said that Magdalena was seen going down to the beach on the Thursday evening. She went to the beach and apparently she boarded a boat where she spent the night, and she didn't come back to the hotel until the next day. There are apparently witnesses for this, and there's a big piece of evidence that would suggest that, yeah, it's true, it's not a lie. And this is that her phone pinged 20 kilometers into the sea. Like the GPS marked it 20 kilometers into the sea at that time. And this is strange because the Polish prosecutors completely ignored that fact. They did not ignore it. They said that this is a glitch. And I find it really strange because that information was included in the Egyptian police report. Like, they took it that, yes, this is right. Like, we checked it. Her phone pinged there. This is it. And then the Polish police took it and they were like, no, it seems unbelievable. Like, no, she didn't leave the hotel. Bam. That was a glitch. It's a mistake. I mean, why? This is really strange for me. So I feel like I believe the PI agency that she possibly was on the boat, or at least her phone was on the boat. They also released information that on Magdalena's clothing, there were found traces of DNA of at least few other individuals, well, other than her. And that's another piece of information that was kind of like ignored by the Polish DA. This is, again, information that was confirmed by Magdalena's family, and at the same time on the official media reports that I've seen from the DA's office, they were kind of like, I don't think they at any point denied it per se, but they completely ignored it, and it didn't seem like this is taking the investigation in any specific direction. So that was Thursday. The next day, Friday, just one day before her early flight back home, her family receives more upsetting news. This time they receive videos and photos of Magdalena lying on a corridor in a hotel, wearing just her bathrobe. She's lying on the floor, she's covering her face, she seems completely out of it, doesn't really speak. She looks scared, upset, really weak almost. I guess it might be the same moment that one of the other tourists described when she was in her bedroom taking mobile phones from other people. It doesn't seem like she has any mobile phones with her at that time. It also doesn't seem on the video like she would be able to really take anything from anyone. If anything, it looks the other way around. People can take stuff from her and she's not able to do anything about it. She looks really defenseless on that video. Soon after this, Mahmoud, the resident, took her to the hospital for the first time. And in an interview with the doctor at the hospital, he said that she arrived in the ambulance, but she refused to leave. I think she didn't even get to go to the hospital. I think, well, they said she refused to leave, but that's what that doctor said. And he also said that they refused the treatment. The hospital said that they are not equipped to deal with mental health issues. And they stated it's a mental health issues just based on her behavior, on what they were being told about her behavior, because they never actually performed any examination. There was no blood test done. They probably didn't even properly speak to her, because I guess there's, first of all, the language barrier. Second of all, they said she refused to go into the hospital, so I'm assuming they were not able to really speak with her properly. But then they just assumed it's a mental health issue. That was really disappointing. But at the same time, Magdalena's family wasn't too worried. They were kind of hoping that it's just one more day, you know, the Saturday is coming, it's the next day, she's gonna be on the plane, she's gonna come home, and they will deal with whatever is happening to her. Unfortunately, she never managed to board that plane. She was refused to board. Again, few different stories from different sources. I heard that she was refused to board by the pilot. And I also heard that there was a doctor who came and assessed her again. And they said that she's not fit to travel, mainly because apparently, again, she was aggressive. And they never explain what they mean by aggressive, like just agitated and upset, or aggressive, like attacking people. What was exactly going on, I have no idea. It seems mega suspicious. So let's go back to our timeline. At this moment, Magdalena, for some reason, was denied boarding, and they could not go back to the hotel where she was staying because she already checked out. They did not want to check her in. They said they had too many issues with her. They don't want to check her in again. And at this point, Mahmoud took her around a few different hotels, resorts, to try to find a room for her. And they couldn't. They were refused everywhere. I don't know if there was no space, or perhaps, you know, the hotels were communicating with each other and they knew that she's causing issues, so they refused. Perhaps he never tried to find her a room. Perhaps she was pretending he is and just told her that, you know, we can't check you in any of those hotels. In any case, after this, at some point they stop in front of one of the hotels, and there is a video phone call between Magdalena and her boyfriend, and it's recorded. It's about 13 minutes long. The original phone call was longer, but it wasn't recorded from the very beginning. But it's about 13 minutes. The conversation is in Polish, so I will not be putting the whole video here. I will link it down below. I think I found a version with pretty good subtitles, English subtitles, so you'll be able to follow the conversation. There's a Polish conversation between the couple. There are also voices in the background speaking in Arabic. And I will also link a page with a translation to this as well, because it's also interesting.
Myszko?
Oni tutaj mają różne sztuczki, tam wiesz, więc to sobie tutaj wszystko robią. Zabierz mnie,
Ale co robią? Co robią? Powiedz mi.
zabierz mnie.
Zabierzemy cię. Maciek już po ciebie leci, ale co oni robią? Kochanie, powiedz mi. Skarbie, nie bój się. Mów do mnie, nie bój się. Kochanie, nie bój się mówić. Słucham?
في الاخر تلاقي زوج غادي الأول.
Możesz mówić, śmiało, mów do mnie. Mów do mnie, kochanie, i nie bój się. Słyszysz mnie? Mów i się nie bój. Co się stało? Tak?
بقول لك والله في الاخر تلاقي زوج غادي الأول والله.
Tak? Co się stało? Powiedz mi. Myszko,
Nie mogę mówić.
kochanie, powiedz mi. Musisz mi powiedzieć, bo ja wtedy zadzwonię tam do ambasady, żeby ktoś miał nad tobą opiekę. Powiedz mi to, proszę cię.
خلاص تعال روح له.
Co tobie zrobili? Madziu, powiedz mi. Co się stało?
Przepraszam.
Co się stało? Kochanie, powiedz mi. Słucham?
I do pracy. Ja nie wrócę stąd.
Wrócisz stąd. Wrócisz. Kochanie, co się stało? Powiedz mi, co się stało. No, dawaj. Raz, dwa.
Nie mogę mówić, przepraszam.
Musisz powiedzieć mi, skarbie, proszę cię. Myszko.
Oni trzymają telefon, ja nie mogę im ci powiedzieć.
Ale teraz, normalnie tak jak teraz mi powiedziałaś, tak mi powiedz. Nic się nie bój. Ja mam kontakt z ambasadą, Maciek po ciebie leci.
Tak.
To powiedz mi, bo ja chcę cię chronić. Powiedz mi, proszę cię, tylko musisz mi to powiedzieć szybko, teraz.
Cześć. Markus, halo,
No, słucham.
witam.
Halo?
Wydaj mi tu strata czasu. Ja będę dzwonił teraz znowu do ambasady tutaj w Egipcie, dobrze?
No dobrze, a możesz poprosić Magdę, żeby włączyła telefon?
Magda, włącz telefon, bo Markus chce dzwonić do ciebie. Wyłącz twój telefon, proszę. Daj teraz, okej, dobrze. A.
Tam się coś odjęło.
As you've seen just from this short piece, that it's quite strange. I think you would all agree with me. She doesn't hold the phone at all. It's not her phone, actually. She seems disoriented, kind of upset. She doesn't say much at all. I almost feel like she feels that she can't speak. Like she looks scared. She keeps looking over the camera. She definitely looks uncomfortable to me. The way she's holding her hands, she looks stressed and nervous. And I know it's a stressful situation no matter what. I mean, she was just being told that she can't fly back home. And at the same time, there's also no hotel room for her, no place for her to stay. So obviously a stressful situation, but it just feels like it's more than this. The way she looks over the camera makes me so uncomfortable. If she's so uncomfortable with them, why not taking her own phone, or asking them for their phone and kind of going on the side and speaking with your boyfriend by yourself? I mean, I think anyone who feels uncomfortable in this situation, that's what they would do, right? Taking the phone, going inside the reception of one of the hotels, like some quiet corner, and having a quiet conversation there. She's not doing it, so perhaps she's not allowed to. Maybe they're not letting her. What did she mean they have tricks here? Like, I will never come back home, they have tricks here. It kind of seems like, all right, they're doing something to stop her from being able to go. And right now, can you imagine being so close at the airport? You think, let's say something happened to you, but you're finally at the airport, you think you're going home, you feel maybe not safe yet, but like you can feel like, okay, like it's coming. And then they tell you some stuff that a doctor or a captain, they're not allowed to fly because you're aggressive when you know you were not aggressive. And that's how, perhaps if you're still kind of out of it, there you have some side effects of being dragged, and your mind is racing and you're panicking and you're really upset and you start behaving aggressive, and then their security is really saying like, okay, you cannot travel, you're not allowed, and all the witnesses are looking at this and they're thinking, yeah, there's something wrong with her. You would later on say they have tricks. They had tricks to make her seem like she is the problem. She is dangerous, she can't fly, we can't let her alone. And during the conversation, she also says at some point, it doesn't matter, go to work, I will never come back. And when one more time he asks her, did they hurt you, did they do something to you, she replies with M. And lots of theories about this as well, because the M is basically the first letter of the names of all of the people there. There's the Mahmoud, Marcus, Magdalena. The name of the friend, the person that records this conversation, it's Maciej. His name again starts with an M. There's Also, another bizarre thing with the phone call, the name of Magdalena's boss, it's exactly the same as Magdalena, including the name and the surname, Magdalena Żuk. And that video was apparently not filmed, it was recorded, and then the reason why it went online was because Marcus tried to upload it online because he wanted to send it to Magdalena's boss, and you just didn't realize it was public, and by the time he realized and made it not public, it was everywhere. So again, another M. And sorry, I forgot to add one more little detail, is that during the conversation, Marcus says, I am sending my friend Michał to pick you up to get you home. And that's another M as well. And funny thing, well, nothing about this here is funny, but interesting thing is that he kind of misspoke during the conversation. He multiple times says, I will bring you home. This friend is on his way to pick you up. It's not exactly common friend. It's like they both know him, but it seems like Magdalena doesn't know him very well, because he says, do you know, remember this Michał, the one with the bird? Like, he describes this man this way, which seems that it is not someone Magdalena is very familiar with. She maybe met him like once or twice, and that's it. It's just so weird for me that there's no one else closer to Magdalena that would be able to fly to pick her up. This is really strange. Just some random person, when she's in this bizarre state, there's obviously things going on with her for whatever reason, she was refused to fly, and then they're gonna send another stranger. I know that sometimes there's a situation that no one has the documents, they cannot fly, but in very certain specific situations, emergencies like this one probably could be included as an emergency. It could be classified as an emergency. Embassies, they will give you temporary passport, and it's ready within hours. So even for him, should be possible to get a temporary passport that allows you to go in and then almost immediately come back. Yet they are sending another random stranger to pick her up. And as I said before, before I digressed, Marcus misspoke. I think he actually did it twice. One time he says, I'm coming to pick you up, and then he's like, he is coming to pick you up. And the other time he misspoke. He said, instead of he will be there, he said he will be here, or I'm here, something like this. And I was like, wait. And again, he corrected himself immediately, so he was aware that he misspoke. But again, it kind of makes you think. I've seen those crazy theories of people that were saying that he actually was there, that this whole thing about expired passport was one big bull, and he actually was there after her. And the last thing before we finish with the phone call is the conversation and the things that are going on in the background. So there's two things going on. First of all, there are some noises where people were saying, there was a lot of different versions of that phone call. There were some people trying to clear the audio to kind of get a better grasp, and I listened to so many of them, and I'm not convinced. Like, it does sound like there are sounds in the background, but they are standing outside of a hotel. There's a lot of sounds. But there is a very popular theory that they were playing back a video to her on another phone. That's why she kept looking over. That's what she was watching. And on that video, it was a video of her being abused. And that's what kind of kept, there was like a threat of like, don't say anything. This is it. Because on this, in the background, there's clapping noises. I think some PI managed to extract a bit of audio with a Polish conversation on it, which wasn't Marcus and Magdalena, but in the background. And there were some weird things being said, which, yeah, out of context like this it would fit this narrative as well. Another thing that was going on in the background was the conversation between two males in Arabic, and the translation of it. I'll link it down below if I find the Arabic English version. But basically what they were saying is that they were talking about someone else and another male, and they were insulting him. And it seemed like they could be talking about Marcus, and they were insulting him. And the phone call is finished by Mahmoud. He takes the phone from facing Magdalena. He takes it for himself, and he says to Marcus in Polish, he says something along the lines like, listen, there's no point in this conversation. I'm gonna call the embassy again. Just see how it goes. Then Marcus asks him, yeah, please, could you ask Magdalena to turn on her phone so I can be in touch with her? And Mahmoud, you can hear Mahmoud saying to Magdalena on camera, like, hey, Magda, please turn on your phone so he can call you. But obviously, we don't know if she was actually allowed to turn on her phone. If they keep saying that her phone is there and she, like Marcus thinks she could use her phone as in, there's not like a roaming issue or something like this, then why was it off in the first place? This is another really bizarre thing, because a lot of communication that happened already in those first days was between the resident and Marcus, and they said that Magdalena's phone was off for most of the time, and it was a direct communication, and the only communication they had with Magdalena from her phone, it was really weird texts she was sending to her friends in Poland, saying things like, oh, I'm waiting for you in the room, while she was in Egypt and they were in Poland. So like complete bizarre things, and basically besides this, like nothing else was sent from her phone. So yeah, Mahmoud says this to her, and that's it. The phone call is finished. It's about 5 in the afternoon, and after this, Muhammad takes Magdalena to the hospital again. It's the same hospital that refused the treatment before, but they go again. I guess they had no other options at this point. They said that her state was worse again. And in the hospital, there's a lot of footage from the hospital. There is also a lot of footage from the hospital that is missing. And by missing, I mean there is a long stretch of footage, then there will be 1 minute missing. Then again, 2 hours and 5 minutes missing. Then you have more footage, 5 hours missing. I don't know if the police got the missing footage and what was made public, that's been made public. I'm gonna include some of the footage because, again, I think it's really, really important. After this, according to the hospital, Magdalena was finally restrained in a room. And because they didn't have a proper equipment to restrain her, she was tied down with the towels to the bed. Unfortunately, at some point, the towels were removed. I guess she said she needs to use the bathroom, and the female nurse that was with her untied her. And that's when Magdalena grabbed the IV strip and kind of tried to, defend herself, push her way through. And she kicked the nurse and jumped out of the window and landed on the concrete stairs outside. It was either 2nd or 3rd floor. In any case, she leaped out of that window, landed on the stairs, and the hospital staff rushed to get her. And there you can see on the video the moment they bring her in the hospital, and they just carried her by the arms and legs. When I seen this, I could not believe it's a hospital. Maybe they were not equipped to deal with mental health illness. Maybe it's not the best hospital, wherever. You would think they would have some type of stretchers around. They take her inside. We can see some of it on the video. She was apparently about 2 hours in the ICU, where they tried to remove the fluid from her lungs. It was said that she had mainly her left side of the body injured. There were some severe injuries to the skull. Her leg and hips were broken in multiple places. Her lungs was punctured and collapsed as well. After 2 hours, they transported her to a bigger hospital in Red Sea in Hurghada. It was 300 kilometers away, so probably took some time as well. They transported her by an ambulance, not by a helicopter, so it was ambulance, so it probably lasted a bit as well. And they said that she was barely conscious. Then in an interview, the hospital manager said that she was unconscious at this point. And then they transport her to this other hospital. And here you go, guys. There's a footage of her. As you can see, the person on the stretcher is definitely awake. Like, she has her hands up, kind of covering her face. A lot of people is saying that this is not Magda. So the official version in Poland right now is that Magdalena was transported to this bigger, better equipped hospital in Hurghada, where she unfortunately passed away. The friend that was supposed to come to Egypt to pick her up arrived while she was still alive. He arrived there and he was not allowed to see her. He was told that she's unconscious and he cannot see her. He did see the resident though, and he said that the resident was full of scratches and had like injuries on his face, which is not surprising. When you see the tapes, you can see that Magdalena is fighting with them. Like, she's fighting for her life. She's scratching. She does not want to be there. She's trying to escape. It's normal that the males that were with her would have some type of scratches as well. What is, in my opinion, not normal. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I don't have experience in autopsies and how this reports like this are created. But in the autopsy, in the Egyptian autopsy, they state that besides the injuries from the fall, she had no other signs of violence or anything like this, which I just find bizarre, because you can see just on that video that she was bumping into walls, running, fighting with them. I mean, I'm sure there would be some scratches or like little bruises on her body. So, as I mentioned before, Magdalena's body was eventually transported to Poland 3 weeks later. So the Polish autopsy was done 3 weeks after. And that's by itself already bad enough. But to make matters even worse, the body that Poland received was already embalmed. And I don't know to what extent, but it was for sure washed and preserved in the special chemicals that are used for it. So obviously, if there was any DNA, a lot of things that could be on her body, it was gone. They did not receive the full toxicology from the Egyptian side to this day, I think. They were waiting for the first documents. They were waiting like months, if not years. I think a big amount of documents they received at about a mark of 3 years, where they actually received some interesting documents. Even then, those documents were incomplete. And to this day, there are documents that are incomplete. And at some point, a few years ago, Magdalena's family, her father and her sister, went to Egypt. They had a lawyer there and the attorney, and they went there to try to get all of the documents. And they were told that, at first they were told that it has to be the father, because they will only be dealing with closest next of kin that is male. Couldn't be her mom or her sister, so her father had to go. He went, and they were told that they will not receive those documents, unless the dad signs a document agreeing that it was definitely a suicide and that Magdalena jumped by herself. And her dad did not agree to this. The family does not believe that she did it to herself, or at least not in a way that it was the way it's presented. The authorities are trying to convince them. They're telling them that it was a mental breakdown and that she did it by herself, and nothing happened that made her, that she had mental issues that just started there during this holiday, and then that she decided to jump on her own. And the parents decided not to sign, and they never received those documents. And to be fair, it's 6 years now. I don't know what would have to change for them to receive them. I mean, unless they go back, they sign that document, which I don't know what I would do. I mean, on one side, agreeing to something that you strongly believe is not true, it's kind of like you know that whatever that document will present, it means you will not be able to get justice for your child. On the other hand, not knowing exactly what happened, not believing the official version, thinking that was a completely something else, believing that your child did not do it and that they were hurt, and knowing that there is this like documents, this something that could tell you exactly what happened, or like maybe bring you closer. I don't know. I wonder what you guys think about this. And there was a lot of media coverage and a lot of private investigators involved, and one of them, quite infamous Polish investigator, he got involved, and he went there. He sent his team there to Egypt to investigate. And at the beginning, they were talking about that Magdalena was a victim of possibly human trafficking or some other similar things there, that she went there to maybe make some money, and she was thinking that there will be some things she will have to do that will bring her quite a lot of money, and it ended up being something else, something that she did not agree to. There are stories that she was dragged by the resident, by the people there, possibly even that her boyfriend knew about it. Once the team of this specific investigator came back from Egypt, they said, though, they kind of stopped talking about this case altogether, and they said, oh yeah, never mind, that was a mental breakdown, that's it, case closed. I found it quite strange as well. I mean, I understand that, hey, we did our job, we did an investigation, and now we think that was actually just this, but the way it was done, it just seemed so suspicious. And before that lasted for a long time, because like right now I cannot repeat it very quickly, but this whole thing with them lasted really long. There was a lot of public appearances by this detective. He likes the flair, he likes the drama, so there was a lot of things going on with this. And he found another female, a girl who was also in this resort before Magda, that had certain experience with the resident. Nothing actually happened to her, but she does think that she was drugged and that he was very suspicious. And after this was made public, there was a really big outcry in the internet, a lot of comments on posts on blogs and forums, interviews with other people, a lot of young females, but also like some families and groups of people that said that they met this resident Mahmoud, and that he was very inappropriate, that he always had a big interest in young females, especially the ones traveling alone. There were women who were described as how he tried to befriend them on Facebook, and when they would ignore his invite, he would send them photos of them sitting around the hotel, like kind of taken, from hidden place. So it's like mega creepy, can you imagine? There are other people that mentioned situations at this resort where they think they were drugged, that they were, in a restaurant area, being there to use the internet, and then they kind of left to the bar, came back, started feeling weird, and the resident was with them. They realized something's going on. The girl went back to her room where her mom was waiting for her, and apparently she passed out for a second. Little stories like this. There was another story where there was a secondhand story. So there was a girl there that was traveling with her aunt. So they were not alone. There were like two of them, and at some point, one of the girls that was there at the same time got lost, and her friends couldn't find her. And eventually the resident found her in a nearby pub or somewhere, completely unconscious, like drunk, like really drunk. And the girls were a bit surprised because this friend doesn't really drink, so it was weird that she would just go by herself and get completely wasted in the middle of the day. And a few days later, when they came across this group of girls again, they were saying that they are like looking for a doctor because that girl is like not feeling well. Like at first they thought it's just a hangover, but she has some weird side effects, and it just seemed like she was possibly drugged and just didn't really react very well to this. So that, and was many stories like this. And I know, people lie, especially on the internet. We make up stories, we say what we want because no one can prove you wrong. Well, they can't, but people still lie. But when there's that many people, that many different stories, it does make you a little bit suspicious. So let's talk some more about all the theories. I mean, as with any unexplained death, there are always many theories. As you can see, one of the theories is that it's the resident, the Egyptian part that's to blame, that maybe something happened to her on that boat. Maybe she was dragged. Perhaps her body did not react the way it was supposed to. I mean, Magdalena was really healthy, sporty, young woman. There is a high chance that the drugs she was given, they were supposed to react, they were supposed to make her completely unaware of what's going on, completely compliant. And because of the fact that her body was so strong and so healthy, perhaps her metabolism is much better and she just managed to kind of fight it off. It would explain why she was still conscious and fighting it and maybe aggressive, because she was trying to be aggressive towards them as in protecting herself, but still so out of it that not being able to actually get help. Maybe she remembered something she was not supposed to remember at all. There is a theory that she knew what's gonna happen, or at least that she was kind of aware of something she's supposed to do, but not to the point that it was done to her. And another big theory, again, the boyfriend. Was he involved as well? Was he there? Did he organize for Magdalena to go there? There's many theories with this. And another detail is that Marcus, Magdalena technically as well, but mainly Marcus, they were connected with a group of people. Like, they had friends, and he knew another young woman who was a model who tragically died a few years before Magdalena, and that death was ruled. The case is closed for that other woman. It was a Polish model who apparently killed herself, but her family does not believe it. There's a lot of interesting theories that it was not a suicide. And interestingly, Marcus knows those people. He was friends with them. It's the same group of people. I mean, he was a really talented hairdresser. He holds some prestigious awards, hairdressing awards. She was a model. This local music scene that Magdalena and him were into, it's the same group of people. Like, this big club where they meet. All those people know each other. There was even during a conversation between Magdalena and Marcus, you can see on the top someone calls him and there's like a notification, and the nickname of that person is the same nickname. It could be a coincidence, it could be two different people, but it's the same nickname of a person that was involved in this other case. It's too much to get into it today in this video, but I will definitely try to cover the other case as well. I will try to link it down below if I have this video. And before we finish, I would like to add another interesting detail. A few months after Magdalena's death, there was an article in an Egyptian newspaper that this said that there were other cases very similar to Magda, of a young woman who jumped out of the roof or a window in a hotel in this area. There was a German tourist, a Russian tourist. There was also a woman in Dubai. I think one of them actually survived, and she said she was trying to jump because she was trying to escape a man who was chasing her with a knife, trying to abuse her. And I just find it quite interesting how they kind of connected all those cases as well. Like, even that suggested that Egyptian side also kind of thinks like, hey, that wasn't an accident. I mean, the case is still open, I think, in both countries. For sure in Poland, I could not find information about Egypt, but it seems like they are on both sides. The investigation is open. So despite the fact that there are like technically witnesses saying she jumped out by herself, that case is still open. It's still not official that yes, she just did it. There must be enough of doubt for the investigators to kind of keep it open. So that says, like, we obviously don't know everything they know. So there must be things besides what we know suggesting that there was some foul play involved. Even if it's something that happened before, causing Magda to try to escape this way. I'm really curious what you think about this case, if you even heard about it. In Poland, it was extremely known case. The whole country lived for this case at the time, even years after. Even right now, when you say Magdalena's name, people say, oh yeah, I remember. It's just so upsetting. It was a beautiful, smart young woman. She had so many plans, so many dreams, and it was all taken away from her just too early. It's heartbreaking, and her family to this day doesn't know what happened. They disagree with what is being officially said, and I just hope that one day perhaps they will get their answer. I wonder what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below and hit that bell to subscribe as well. Until the next time. Bye.